So check this out. This ain't good. Runaway tool. All right, let's take her down and find out what's wrong. So to guide our efforts here, I downloaded the Cleco parts manual that I found online from 2011, and it actually has some pretty good instructions in it. So we're just going to use this. So I'm going to very uncharacteristically follow instructions on this. So first thing it says is remove the tool, which is just twist the spring. All tools come out like that from most air hammers or riveters. And then remove the retention spring, which just unscrews. I think it unscrews like so. Like that. Then it says to remove this locking clip. There we go. That's better. Okay, there's the locking clip. Something I can't stress strongly enough is when you're doing a little project like this with a lot of little bits and pieces, get you a cup or something to keep the parts in. This one was from Parmesan cheese. So get you some Parmesan cheese and keep the container and then keep the parts in it. Okay, next step, unscrew the handle. So this nut, on mine is just finger tight, so it's got wrench flats on it though. Needed to put a spanner on it or a monkey wrench or a open end, you could do that. Okay, handle doesn't want to come off, so I'm going to give it a few love taps with the Garland #1 on the poly head. Okay, still doesn't want to come off, so got a couple scraps of aluminum protecting the vise, protecting the barrel from the vise jaws. And I'm gonna give it a little bit of this good old-fashioned map gas. Now this is aluminum, so it expands quickly. You don't need to roast it. And then I'm going to give it another couple little love taps, see what happens. Ah, there it goes. It's turning. Oh, wow, that made a big difference. Okay, and there is the handle. There's wrench flats on the end of the barrel here that I grabbed. You can see them right there. Just grab those with the vise. Now the instructions say to clamp the handle with the inlet valve facing up in a vise. So there it is again. I just got these couple of scraps of aluminum to protect it. And I'm going to take it loose right there. So if that's going to focus, but 11/16. Oh boy, she's tight. Oh goodness. Right, I'm gonna... Probably don't need to remove that, but just to be safe. Okay, let's try that again. This time I'm going to use the Garland Persuader. give this some heat as well. Give it a little bit more thermal energy here. Let me try the 12-inch diamond caulk adjustable here. And the Garland. Hey, what do you know? All right, that's going to be hot. Another highly uncharacteristic step. Using gloves, for me anyway, just because this is hot. Okay, and there we have the inlet adapter. Okay, now according to instructions, everything should just dump out of here. So back over to the bench. Now it says the valve assembly should just drop out. But it's not dropping out. So I'm going to reach in with a chopstick. Oh, there we go. There's a ferrule. There's a screen in there. Let me see if I can fish that out with a needle. I'm going to dig that filter out of there with a teeny weeny screwdriver. There it comes. Whoop, there's a problem. I don't know what that is, but it's solid. That ain't good. There it comes. Pull it out of there with a needle nose. There's the filter. Oh boy. Look at all that. I think the valve seat is shot. All those pieces, look at that. Okay, looks like we're going to have to be buying some parts. That's all that's left of our valve seat. There's the spring. Okay, I got to clean that out of there. So obviously there's the problem. The valve seat was just the retainer and a bunch of shrapnel. So it was just letting air in directly from the airline. So an obvious failure mode. So we have to replace this. Hope I can get one from one of the parts suppliers. The meter. Next thing I'm going to remove is the metering valve screw. It's a little socket head screw down in that hole. Just wang it out of there with a Allen key. Looks like that. Okay, to remove the trigger, there's a little retaining pin, 1/8 inch punch. I'll just bare hand it for now, see if I can do that. Yep, she's a coming. There it is. And trigger comes out just like that. So just a long stirret punch. And there it went on the floor. Like that. Simple roll pin. Next thing I have to do is remove the throttle pin, which is down the trigger hole. You can see it there. Comes out real easy, just like that. It's just a simple solid pin. Okay, getting the metering screw out is a bit of a three-handed act. So there is a port, a rectangular port at the bottom of this housing. I think you can see it where the light's flashing. I have to simultaneously, I'm going to push a piece of welding rod into that port and work the screw from the back with a screwdriver and manipulate it out of there. So need a third hand, so good old Wilton is providing the third hand. Get that welding rod down in the square opening. Like feel basically. And then I'm just going to turn the screw on the back while I'm pushing on the welding rod. It's tight, but you can see it backing out little by little. Okay, see if I can grab it with a pair of needle nose. There it comes. There it comes. Not much like doing this with pliers, but hey, so it's working. And there it is. Okay, now that I can see the cross drilling, I can use a screwdriver like a belaying pin, stick it through there, and work it the rest of the way out. And there it is. There's some junk on that too. Okay, well that's got to be cleaned up. There we have one handle. That's just a machine casting now, nothing in it. Just ready for cleanup. To disassemble the barrel, start by removing the valve assembly at the back, which just pulls out. It's this valve block. The valve itself. The plunger. And then what they call the valve block button, which is that thing. It's got 2 roll pins in it, which you don't have to remove. You can if you want, but I'm leaving them in. There you go. There's your barrel. Ready for reassembly. Just cleaned everything up with some engine degreaser and a little screwdriver and some Q-tips and rags, and everything's all nice and clean now. And I got the replacement throttle valve right there online, plus some few extra O-rings and other small replacement parts. Start with our new throttle valve. There's the little stem. So it slips together this way, the little ferrule pointing up. You can see that. That just drops inside like so. Get that seated all the way in. You can see that. So there's the valve and the spring. Bought a new spring. That goes in cone angle up over the valve stem, like so. Then a brand new filter, cleaner than my hands here. That just pushes in. I'm just going to use the handle of the screwdriver just to push it more or less straight in. the ferrule for the filter. Just drops straight in. Then we have to put an O-ring on the inlet adapter. This one. And just 2 thumbs, roll it on. Now the sealing on this is done on between the O-ring, this face, and this face. There's no need to put pipe joint compound or Teflon tape or anything on there. It doesn't do any good. The sealing's done by the O-ring. And I've seen a lot of these where guys goop the heck out of these things with Teflon or whatever, and it just makes a mess for no reason and ends up plugging up the tool. So thread that back in. And there's that. And the next is the throttle valve and the throttle valve O-ring. So the O-ring goes in the little O-ring land under the visible screw head. And I'm just going to stretch it on with my thumbs. Like that. And then just a little bit of teeny weeny bit of Hoppy's number 9 or some other fine oil. Pneumatic tool oil. Get it started. Lubricate the O-ring. And it might need just a little bit of gentle convincing. I'm not beating the hell out of it, I'm just lightly tapping it in. Then the screw, the set screw. That one. And I'm going to put a little dab of oil down its hole. Little hex key. I'm just snugging it, not reefing it down. Then the trigger, a little dab of oil. And the trigger pin. Which is just a roll pin. Make sure you got it. Just pull, make sure it doesn't come out. Okay. That's it. Onto the barrel. So the first thing that goes into the barrel is the plunger. A little dab of oil. Next is the valve block button, so-called valve block button, with so it's got roll pins sticking out of each end. Big roll pin goes in, and it indexes into a blind hole. There's only one hole in here that's blind. It's right here on this one. That's where the big roll pin goes. So again, a little dab of oil. Fits in there like so. And the actual valve, I'm just rubbing residual oil on it from my fingers. Give it another dab of its own. Goes in this way. looks like so. So next is the valve block, this, which indexes, so you got 3 holes on here. This lone hole over here, which is the largest of the 3, might be a little hard to tell, but it's the largest of the 3 off here by itself. That goes over the roll pin, like so. And there's the barrel assembly. Now that simply threads onto the handle. Make sure that's nice and clean in there, and then the rectangular port at the bottom, you should be able to look down there and see the throttle valve. You might not be able to. It's that little rectangular hole. Just make sure you can see the head of the throttle valve. And then you thread them together. Like that. And then thread down the lock ring. Now over here in the vise, I'm just going to finger tight the lock ring. And I'm going to take my rigid monkey wrench and just snug it down. Doesn't have to be super tight, but just snug it down just a little bit. The idea is that this lock ring keeps the barrel from backing out during all the vibrations, so it's nothing more than a lock nut. It just needs to be snug. And take the locking clip, and you just need to align 2 of these slots, a slot in the lock ring and a slot in the handle. Like that one looks close. So I'm just going to snug it a bit more just to align those 2 slots, like right there. Probably difficult to see, but there's little tiny slots are aligned. And then I can hook the spur of this lock clip into those slots that are aligned. Snap it on. Now that keeps the lock ring from backing off. So it locks the handle and the lock ring together. Now with the gun inverted in the vise, I'm just threading in the QD. Snug that down. For installing the retainer spring, I just give it a little squirt of this stinky, sticky red grease just on a rag and just wipe it around the threads on the end just to keep the retention spring lubed a little bit. And that just threads on by hand. Okay, let's see if we did any good. So I've got my favorite homemade flow forming head in here. Hook up the air hose. It's not running away. That's a success. Hey, she's working. All right. Okay, now we need to calibrate it. So the adjustment screw on the back, I got it clamped up in a pair of plastic jaws here. I'm gonna be turning that. I'm gonna hit the trigger, and then I'm just gonna turn this till it maxes out, because that's where I like to run it. So here goes. And once it's there, just take an Allen key or hex key and tighten down the set screw. And it'll stay right there. If you don't tighten down the set screw, the throttling screw on the back will move itself under vibration, and the performance of the gun will change, and next thing you know, you won't be able to seat a rivet or do anything. You'll be wondering why. So get her set like you like it, snug her down. Okay, so this baby's going back in action. We'll use it for forming some more sheet metal and even driving a few rivets now and again. This one was fun, easy but fun. So I'm going to leave this one here, and it's on to the next project, and I will see you there and then.